Hey everyone, and welcome to another Sasquatch Theory podcast. Tonight, we take you deep into the heart of Ohio, where the forest whispers secrets and the shadows hide more than just wildlife. Joe, a boots-on-the-ground eyewitness, shares a series of chilling encounters that blur the line between the natural and the supernatural, from glowing red eyes and intelligent woodknocks to UFOs soaring silently above cornfields, to theories of secret underground bases hidden in plain sight. This isn't your average Bigfoot story. This is something bigger, something stranger, something they're not telling us. Get ready, because what Joe experienced might change the way you see the woods forever. If you guys can, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. And of course, if you have a Bigfoot or cryptid encounter that you would like to share with me, please contact me sometime at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. With all that being said, let's dive into our next Bigfoot encounter from the state of Ohio. All right, Joe, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you so much for asking. Joe, if you would, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your Bigfoot encounters and experiences from the very beginning, please.
Okay, I live in Northeast Ohio. I'm less than an hour from Youngstown, about south of Youngstown, and I live about 10 minutes from where the East Palestine train derailment happened. I've worked in the oil field pretty much my whole life, and I think this was back around 2010 or something like that. We were right off the exit on Route 80 or Interstate 80, sorry. We were cleaning mud tanks on a drilling rig, and we were working nights, whatever, and I had walked down to my truck to use the bathroom and get a can of snuff out, and so this location was pretty much surrounded by trees, like big tall pine trees. You know, I'm out there and it's like 10 hours into a 12-hour shift, and I'm kind of just like looking up at the stars like I'm ready to get out of here. But I look up and I see it looked like a shooting star, and it was like coming straight down. It was like a bluish green color. And at the time, I'm just like, oh, cool, shooting star. You don't see that every day. I'm looking. I get done doing what I got to do. I reach into my truck, get a can of snuff. I get it out, and I look up again. And when I look up, this thing shot from behind the trees. Like it's a pretty good distance away or whatever. But it shot like a blink straight up. And when it took off, like it was gone. I mean, it's like sitting here talking about it now, like you don't really understand how fast this thing actually went. And I was like, wow, that's kind of wild. But looking back again, when it was coming down, it was like a controlled speed coming straight down. And when you see something like that at the time, you don't really, I don't know, at least I didn't. I just thought it was a shooting star. But when it took off again, it was pretty wild. That's pretty much what happened with that one. And all it was like an orb looking thing. It wasn't like, it didn't have any shape to it. It was just a ball of light.
Yeah, that is strange. And what do you think it was?
Man, so when I get into the next story, there was something like similar to it, just a different color. I mean, I really couldn't tell you. I have no idea. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like that, and I've heard other people talk about, what like balls of light and things moving around like that, but I really couldn't. I mean, I'd assume that it's a UFO, but I really couldn't say what exactly it was.
Okay.
So
So what else happened after this incident?
So the next thing that happened, we went to. I was in West Texas. I was a floor hand in West Texas, and we were right off of 158, right outside of Midland. So I can't remember the exact year, but during this time period, there was a Midland Walmart. So all around the country, there was like select Walmarts that were closed down, and they said it was for a plumbing issue. Well, for a plumbing issue, they put up like chain link fences and all this other stuff around the Walmart. And I actually looked it up again later on to make sure that I wasn't like crazy or anything. Like this actually happened. And you can still find it on the internet to this day. But they put up like a chain link fence. Well, we're standing there on the rig floor, and it was kind of we were working nights, and the sun was just starting to go down, and we're probably 50 yards or so from that route 158, and there was a armored vehicle went down the road. And I turned and looked. I was like, oh, that's cool. And next thing you know, another one comes, and then another one, and they just kept coming. Well, on the door, they were NATO vehicles, like UN NATO vehicles or whatever, like the white, and they rolled for a while. Well, pretty soon they stopped, and you're like, oh, that's pretty wild. Well, my buddy who was on the floor with me points over into the sky. And if you've ever been to West Texas, I mean, it's so flat you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. Like you can see anything for miles and miles. Well, it was an orange ball, and it was coming directly at the rig. So it would have been perpendicular to the highway right there. And it's coming straight at us, and it rolls at us for a while. It's coming along. And then all of a sudden, I mean, on a dime, it turns and it banks left and just continues. And that's the direction that, I mean, you would go to get to Midland towards the Walmart. And there was 3 or 4 other guys standing there with me that watched it happen. So it went, and then later on, I find out like there was the National Guard was there guarding this Walmart and all this other stuff. And I mean, I can't tell you whether they were connected, but 2 weird things happening at the same time in the same place, I would have to assume that they were connected somehow.
Yeah, that is extremely strange. I have seen where people talk about the connection with Walmarts and NATO, and they say that they're like FEMA camps. That way, when the world goes to crap, basically, there's like underground entrances from Walmart, and people are going to be like corralled in these areas. I don't know if that's true, but if you kind of look at what happened with Hurricane Katrina, I don't believe they handled that correctly. And yeah, that's strange that you mentioned that, because I've always wondered about that. And I don't know, it just seems like these corporations really do control the people, and maybe they were working on the underground base. I don't know. I really don't know, but that's strange, man.
Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never seen like a NATO vehicle, armored vehicle roll down the road, let alone 20 or 25 of them bumper to bumper. So like it was I don't know, something wasn't right. And this was around all the time that I want to say it was 2000. It was somewhere between 2014 and 2016 is when this went down.
Yeah, that's strange. And a lot of these secret government compounds, they're not hidden, or they're not just like an open site, kind of like Area 51, and they're all gated off. Like a lot of them are just hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to hide stuff from people is put it right under their nose. I mean, like I said, I can't just sit here and say, they were doing something wild over at the Walmart, but like like I said, two weird things happening within miles of each other and everything going towards that direction is, I mean, to me, common sense would say that they're connected.
Yeah, that's strange. And I've taken two different encounters where people were at a Walmart. One guy saw a pterodactyl, and I think the other guy had Bigfoot activity because the Walmart was close to the forest. But that just makes me wonder,
Wow.
man.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't I don't doubt it one bit.
Yeah.
So the next one, I was kind of hoping that my wife would be here for this one, but I was in we had moved back to Ohio, and we were in Lisbon, Ohio, which, to tell you how close to East Palestine I was, when they set the car, when they blew up the car that was on fire after the train derailment, I have a picture of the cloud on my phone. That's how close I was to this deal. And there's other weird. I know there's an airstrip around there somewhere because there's like a trick plane that comes out, like the Lucas Oil trick plane. He'll come out and practice because it's just farmland. And so whenever I hear airplanes, like I look up because this dude will go up there and like shut the engine off and like fall back to earth, kick it back off, like do it. So we're sitting on the front porch, and it was me, my wife, my mother-in-law, and my son, who was like 12 or 13 at the time. And just sitting out there talking. I'm talking about crystal clear blue skies, not a cloud anywhere, and it was summertime, like beautiful day. And we're sitting there, and my wife says she turns and looks towards a cornfield that was directly behind me. I was like, "What is that?" And I turned, and I mean, like your typical, the thing that you would see in a movie, a flying saucer is coming out across, like flying over top of the field. And like it wasn't really far away, but it wasn't close enough to where I could tell you like what kind of windows were in it or something like that. But like distinctly I could make out what the object was. So everybody turns and looks, and we're watching it, and then all of a sudden you hear a plane. And this plane, it was like a jet plane. I mean, I don't really know that much about airplanes, but a military style jet come up behind it. And that's when I realized that that thing wasn't making any noise. So when it was there was absolutely nothing. And then when this jet comes up behind it, you can hear it plain as day. So I was like, wow, it's not making any noise. As soon as that jet got up behind it, this thing took off and just steady pulled away from this jet and basically made the jet look like it was sitting still. I mean, it was gone. I mean, it wasn't like the other thing where it just boomed and was out of there. It just steady pulled away, and it flew for a while, and we're just sitting there like, is this really happening? And I'm watching it go out through there, and it starts to turn into like when you see the heat wave on the blacktop in front of you, like you could still make out that there was something there in the sky, but you couldn't see any of the defining lines of it. It just turned into like a heat signal. And we're watching it, and my wife said, and everybody was like, all right, I'm going in the house. So they get up and they're walking in. I walk in behind them, and I turn around and look back out to like kind of see where it went because I kind of lost it. And then over top of the town of Lisbon, the whole sky lit up orange and then went back to normal.
Yeah. Yeah, that is strange. What could you describe from the craft? Like what color was it? How big? And I know you didn't see like windows or beams inside, but like, did it just look like a light?
No, it was like stainless steel, like like if you took two dinner plates and put them together to where it makes that like the round shape on top, round shape on the bottom. Like it looked like your typical UFO. Like it was something that you see straight out of the movies, and it like the way that it took off was like that was the unnatural part. I mean these jets and the fact that it didn't make a sound, like there was no noise whatsoever, and it just pulled away from this jet like the jet wasn't even moving. It was just straight gone. And then whenever we got up, went in the house, and I turned back around and I was looking outside, I couldn't see it no more. I couldn't, the jet is still back here rolling, and where the orange light lit up at was nowhere near him. Like there's no, like that's how fast this thing was. So it probably traveled, I don't know, 15 miles, and left this thing pretty much sitting where we originally saw it.
Yeah, that sounds fast. And I've seen some strange stuff in my time. And I mean, it just takes off like warp speed, like the speed of light.
Yeah, it's like it's not like you would think it would be. It just go like I don't know how to explain it. It just goes. Like it's there's nothing on this planet that I've ever seen that goes that fast on TV, in person, or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that is strange. So, what else have you experienced after these strange encounters?
So like I said in that email, I've never seen a Bigfoot. I've never actually put eyes on it. But we moved into this house back in April of last year, I believe. And behind my house is like 60 acres of nothing but woods, and there's nobody in there. Like nobody hunts it, nobody does any of that. So I uh I rode my motorcycle into town and got a headlight for my truck. And when I come back, there was I pulled my truck in, or pulled my bike in, parked it, and I went up. I was getting ready to start tearing the headlight out of my truck and do whatever. Well, I turned my back towards the woods. I'm getting ready to do my thing, and I hear wood knocks, but it sounded like the cadence of a machine gun, and like it was pop, 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 pop. And I turned around, and I'm like, what? So I start like looking off in the woods, and I don't see anything. And I'm looking, I just keep looking. And I'm like, all right, well, I turn around, go back to doing my thing, and I hear three sharp, like slower ones, like whack, whack, whack. And I turn around again, and I still don't see anything, but my dog is standing in front of the wood line with his hair standing straight up, and he's growling. So I go in the house, I grab a rifle, and I come back out, and I'm like looking, because at this point I don't know whether it's somebody messing around or what's going on, but there's nobody back there. I mean, like around here, like you really wouldn't. I don't know anybody that would want to play games like that. So I don't think anything of it. I never say anything to my wife about it because I'm gone all the time, and I don't really want to deal with her being scared of where we live. So she calls me, and she's like, you ever get weirded out there in the, like out back behind the garage? I'm like, no, why? And she was like, I'm telling you right now, there is something staring at me while I'm out there. I'm like, oh boy. So I go back to work, and then I come home, and I went to take my dog outside again, or take him outside for the last time for the night. We were getting ready to go to bed, and I went outside and I was smoking a cigarette, and all I had on me was my phone. Like, that's the only kind of light that I had. And my dog walks over to the edge of my like little patio, and once again his hair stands straight. Like, he's got like this he's a blue heeler, so his hair stands straight up on his back, and he starts that low rumble and growl. And I'm like, oh, here we go. So I turn a flashlight on my phone and I shine it down there, and I could see these two giant red eyes staring back at me. And I'm like, Gus, let's go. So I get him, like, I'm trying to get him back in the house. And I went back down there the next day. I didn't see any footprints or anything like that. But to this day, like, if I go out there, like, I can feel it. And all night long, my motion sensor in front of my garage, it goes off all night.
Yeah, that's creepy. And the rapid wood knocks, I've heard that before. It does sound like a machine gun. It's kind of weird, and you can tell it's wood on wood.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever have shot an AK-47 compared to an AR, but it's like an AK. It's like a slow cadence, like pop, 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 pop. And I don't know. I never thought that would be the way it happened, but that's what I heard. So I've heard wood knock before. Um, this was in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. We were testing a pipeline, and whenever you're testing, normally you're doing it at night. Like, it's very rare that you get a daytime pipeline test for pressure and everything, whatever. And when you're testing, all you do is sit there and record numbers. So me and my buddy sitting there, we're talking, whatever, and he kind of believes in Bigfoot too. He don't rule out Bigfoot, put it that way. But we start hearing like tree knocks, and it's coming from like right in front of us. So we have flashlights then, so we turn them on and we're looking like, wow, that's wild. So then right after we sit down, we hear them to our right, and the tree knock goes off again, and then that was it. Never heard it again. But it almost seemed like one did it, and then the other one was like talking back or something like that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I also hear of people having strange experiences when the husband leaves for work and the wife is home alone. So, I can definitely tell you that there's something strange going on there. And I'm sure your wife feels like she's being watched. And that's a creepy thing to know because, that makes you anxious every time you have to leave and you got to leave your family there by themselves and you don't know what's really out there.
Yeah. So the you mentioned that. So where our like little patio is, it's like built off of the side of my garage. It's got a roof and everything. Well, all around my property is like big oak trees, and so acorns falling all the time. Well, she always gets mad. She's always constantly out there, like keeping the acorns swept up and like pushed off. Well, she came out one morning after she had cleaned them all up, and there was one sitting on the seat where she normally sits. Like, that's a perfect bounce for it to land on the roof of the garage, roll all the way down the roof of the patio, hit the ground, and then bounce 90 degrees back to her seat, like, I don't know, 10 yards or something like that. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, that's scary. I've also taken reports of people who own blue healers and are having Sasquatch activity, and the blue healers are really good at picking up the phenomenon, and you can tell that, they're on edge, they're growling, they're looking into the woods, and their ears are up, and they're very aware of what's going on. Whenever you flash the light on the creature, you said you saw two red eyes. Did you use a red light, or was it a regular flashlight?
It was just a flashlight off of an iPhone, and like, I mean, like I said, there's 60 acres of woods behind us, and you could be like, well, it was an animal. I mean, I could turn my hand. I mean, I'm a normal sized guy. I could have took my hand and put it between the red eyes.
And what do you think it
Like,
was?
man, I don't know. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything scary. I didn't even get the feeling that anything was watching me or anything like that. I was just sitting there, like, getting ready to go lay down as soon as he was done doing what he had to do. And as soon as I seen it, though, like, you get that, like, adrenaline dump, and you're like, oh, what is that? That's all I felt. I couldn't tell you what it was, but the county that I live in is where the Ohio howls were recorded.
Oh, wow,
So
that is interesting. And I'm sure whenever you were out there on your property, that was the last thing you expected to see was red eyes.
yeah, I mean, I've never been like, even with like the UFOs and stuff, like, I can't sit here and tell you like they're little gray men. I mean, they might be something from the government that we don't like, that they haven't told us or something like that. But I can't sit here and tell you that they ain't. Like, there's proof that these things have been on this planet before. So if they've been here before, they could be here now, is the way I see it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Every ancient civilization has talked about the gods, and even in the Bible, it talks about the gods, the lowercase gods, and I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it's crazy because, so both sides, looking at it from both sides. I've been out in Beaver Creek, which there is not that far from here. It I mean, I ride my motorcycle through there all the time, and there has been a bunch of Bigfoot sightings. They've been on the BFRO, that all that. But I've also been out there with people. My buddy's girlfriend had this thing where she liked to go looking for ghosts, and they say that place is haunted, whatever. And while I was there, a cop had a guy that was in a monkey suit, your average build guy in a monkey suit, and was about to charge him for wasting their time because people were calling saying they seen a Bigfoot. So I mean, I don't know either way, but all these people can't be lying.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's pretty strange the motion sensors would go off, and it really makes you wonder what's truly going on. I was investigating an area in the Mark Twain National Forest here in Missouri, and the guy was having Bigfoot encounters and all kinds of strange activity. And I had another research group out there, and we were talking about the shadow people that I've seen in the past. And then all of a sudden, the motion lights turn on one after another because they're lined up all the way down the driveway until you get to his house. And our lights started shutting off. His wristwatch started going off, the alarm did, and every time he turned it off, the alarm would just keep going off. And it was weird because the property owner did tell me personally, like, hey, I'm having like these shadow people showing up at my house, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and there'll be like a bright light inside the house. And it's just strange because he's having Bigfoot activity out there in the forest, and this stuff's going on inside. I don't know if there's a connection, but there does seem to be some type of anomaly happening. And like, if you watch the Skinwalker Ranch, You know, it's not just cryptid creatures. It's not just UFOs. There's like things that cannot be explained that are happening on the property. And there's something going on either below the surface or above the ground. And I don't know. I think there is a connection, but obviously we cannot say for sure.
Yeah, so like it's funny because like I told you, I've been in the oil field for my entire life, and all the places that I get sent are like I north or central Pennsylvania. Right now, I just left down by Salt Fork. Like I always end up somewhere where this stuff happens, but I've been lucky and seen those things in the sky, but I've never seen like a Bigfoot, but I've heard them. I've heard different. We were out on the Ohio River one time, like pretty much directly where the Ohio Howls were recorded, and I just we were out on the boat, we were about to catfishing and just riding around, and I started like doing whoops and and everybody's laughing at me. Well, it got answered like out of nowhere. Like my wife was there, her uncle, his wife, my son, their kids, like they all sat there and heard it, and they were like, "Oh, that's somebody out there playing a joke on us." I was like, "Okay, is it or is it not? Like, which one do you want to go with here? Because this place has been known to have this stuff happen before." So I mean, I don't know. And you talk about the shadow people and stuff like that. So this gives me the creeps, like really, like. So we lived in a house that my grandfather bought or raised all my mom's brothers and sisters and everything in, and he passed away when I was 3. So there's absolutely no way that my son could ever have known him. So so I'm in West Virginia on a rig, and I get off work and I eat, and then I call my wife before I go lay down, whatever, and she's like, "Hey, did your grandpa wear the one piece red long johns like you always wear, and kind of pull his socks up over his legs so that his socks don't fall down?" I was like, "Yeah, that's where I got it from." And she's like, "Oh boy." She said, "Ryland just came out here and asked me," and this was in the summertime. She was sitting on the porch, and he come out and asked her. He's like, he said, Mommy, who was that man?" She's like, "What man?" She said, "The guy that with the red pajamas on, like that Daddy wears." So she was telling me about it, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, I really didn't have time for it at the time. So fast forward, so I come home from work, and we're camping with my uncle, which would be my grandfather's son. And he's got my son sitting on his lap. And I told my uncle about this, and he starts flipping through his phone, and he comes to a picture of my grandpa. And my son says, "Hey, I know him." And my uncle David's like, "How do you know him?" He's like, "He comes to my house all the time." And I'm like, "Oh boy." Like it just that's a little too weird for me.
Yeah, that is strange. I was just talking to a guy at the gym, and he was talking about like paranormal activity that was happening in his grandma's house, and he claimed that it was his grandpa that was still there. And he said later on, when his kid grew up, he was probably about like 4 or 5 years old, he would say, "I see grandpa." And they never told him about, like them having that activity or anything. He didn't know his grandpa. He was already passed away. And he just thought that was unusual. Like, how would this kid know that?
Yeah, so that kind of like freaked me out. And so right before that happened, we lived in like central Pennsylvania, and we rented a house, and we got all moved in, but we really didn't mess with the basement too much. It was just a cement floor, normal regular old basement. It wasn't finished or anything. But underneath the steps there was like a little storage compartment, whatever. And we got everything moved in, and there's like the old like tube style TVs, but they're like the big screen ones. And once again, I was at work, and apparently my son, and he was even smaller at the time, he climbed up on the couch next to my wife and like wrapped his arms around her, and he was like, "Don't worry, mommy, I'll protect you from the people under the stairs." She's like, "What?" So she's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "There's bad people underneath the stairs, but I won't let them get you." I'm like, "Oh, well, that's cute, whatever." Well, we opened up that door and pulled out. There was a old box in there. Pulled it out, and there was uh, like demonology pamphlets. There was a Ouija board. There was all kinds of like witch stuff or whatever in this box. And I took it out and I tried to burn it because I mean I don't mean to be rude or anything, but if I can't kill it with a 9mm, I don't want it around me. And it wouldn't burn. The board wouldn't burn. None of the books and stuff that were in there, like it was like trying to burn shingles or something. It would not fully burn and disintegrate.
Yeah, that's pretty freaky. Makes you wonder what went on in the house in the past, and I mean, I wouldn't want to know.
Yeah, but the neighbor next to us was saying like, uh, yeah, like the people that were there before, they were really nice. The husband was a preacher, but the wife that was there was a little off. And I'm like, oh, well, this guy's, kind of good old boy, but so obviously, well, then I found that, and I'm like, oh, I see why she's a little off. But yeah, that was, and I don't know what it is, but like my wife, like she like, I don't know, she's like a magnet for this kind of stuff. Like ever since she was little, she tells me about like things she's seen and all this and that, but it just, I don't know, it weird, that stuff. Like I see a Bigfoot all day. I don't want nothing to do with no ghost or any of that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, I don't mind looking for Bigfoot, but when it comes to paranormal activity, I just kind of steer away from it. I've done it in the past, and I feel like things will latch onto you, and it's really hard to get rid of them.
Yeah, like so. Speaking of that, I was talking earlier about my buddy, his girlfriend. She liked to do that, like ghost hunting stuff. I was kind of big. Uh, when I graduated 2007, so I'm like 35. But I seen like back in the day, they would have like you watch on TV where they go hunting ghosts and all this other stuff. Well, she got into that. So we get this whole party. It's me and my buddy, her, his aunt, some of his cousins, whatever, and we all go out to Beaver Creek, and we're walking around looking for stuff. And I'm just like, this is stupid, whatever. Well, they're like, we're gonna go one more place, and then we'll head home. And I was like, where are we going? They said Bowman Cemetery, and I was like, oh great. So we go, and it's me, my buddy, and his girlfriend and his one cousin in my truck, and then his aunt had the rest of them in her car. We go out there, and I mean, pitch black. Like you can't see anything without a light. So you pull into this like little, it's kind of like a roughed out driveway type deal. It's still mud. It's just a clear place to park. And then you go around the corner, and there's woods on either side of you, and there's just a tunnel that goes back. Like there's trees on either side, but it's kind of like tunnels you into the graveyard. Now the big thing about this place is they say that a witch killed all these little kids, and she was hung in the tree in the middle of the graveyard. Well, I don't really see how that's possible because the tree is kind of new, but all the grave sites are like they are all like most of them are all children. So still, I'm just blowing it off. Whatever. We go in, they're taking pictures with their cameras and all this and that. Well, I start feeling stuff hitting the backs of my legs, like somebody's throwing rocks. And I'm not saying anything because I think somebody's messing with me, and I don't really want to like egg them on to keep messing with me. Well, I keep feeling it hitting my legs. I turn around and look, and there's nothing. Like there's a hillside that drops straight off. But there's no way that any of them were throwing stuff at my legs. So still didn't say anything. I'm looking around, and you can clearly hear somebody, what sounds like them dragging chains up in the woods. So I turn my flashlight on, I'm looking, no one there. Well, his aunt comes over and she's like, look at this. And she took a bunch of pictures real fast. And this black ball rolls over, gets up on the one gravestone, rolls off, and then she's got like where she just sat in one spot clicking, she's got it rolling away from that headstone. I'm like, oh boy. So we're looking at everything on these pictures, and there's all kinds of orbs. Like there's balls of light all through these. I mean, almost to the point to where you can't even see people in the pictures. There's so many of them. Well, they take a picture of my truck, and there's a giant orange one sitting in the inside my truck. I'm like, we're leaving now, so I'm done with this. We're done. I said, if you don't want to go, you can find a ride home, but I'm leaving. So we all get in the truck and leave. We get back and they start looking through the pictures, and it's just like you can see faces in some of these balls. Like it's crazy. Like there's all kinds of like some of them look like just a human face, and some of them look like messed up like I don't know, like messed up faces, and it's crazy.
Yeah, that is strange. And you wouldn't happen to be the guy that sent me a photo of the upside down stump, right? That's not you, is it?
No, but I do have it. Maybe it was me. I have a picture of where it looked like someone took a tree, pulled it out, turned it upside down, and stabbed it in the ground.
Okay. Yeah, I think I posted that to my social media, and I can't remember where the guy was at, but it was somewhere on the west side of the United States.
No, the where I found it was up in it was like central Pennsylvania, like right outside of Weedville, Pennsylvania. Trying to think of what the closest exit is from there, but yeah, it's a giant like people go up there and hunt all the time. There's elk like one of the only places where like elk are like populated over here. Like they're so popular that I almost hit one on the road coming around the corner to go back to the hotel. But people go out there and hunt all over this place, and I'm talking way back in there. Like there is nothing but mountains, and there's nobody that live up there or anything like that. And it just looked like somebody grabbed a tree. It was probably, I'd say, 3-inch diameter, and yanked it out of the ground because the roots were still on it, and stabbed it in the ground.
Yeah, that is strange. And the photo I have, it must have been sent by somebody else, but I remember the guy saying he was a truck driver and he took a photo of this upside down tree that was stabbed into the ground. And it kind of looks like a desert area, so it doesn't look like there's too many trees. It's kind of unusual, but it's hard to say.
Yeah. It's just funny you say that because I have a picture. I was showing the guys, they don't believe in any of this. I was showing them. I was like, "What do you think did that?" and they had all kinds. I mean, it might have, just blown over, but I don't know how the roots stay over whenever. I've never seen the roots come out of the ground whenever the wind pushes something over.
Yeah, it's strange. And what else have you experienced? Do you have anything else that you'd like to share?
The last thing, I mean, it's a paranormal thing. My mother-in-law, right after her husband died, we were all in the house, and I've never seen like on a video of like having orbs. I've only ever seen it on a picture, but I can't remember what happened. But my wife went into the room, like their bedroom, and was videoing, for some reason, videoing her mom, and there's orbs all over, like all around her. She comes out in the living room and she's like, "Look at this." So I'm looking at the phone, and like there's orange and white and green, like all kinds of different colored balls all around her. And then my son walks past, because he ain't having any of it. He just walks past and they all go away. And as soon as he gets out of the frame, they all come back. So then they turn it and looked at him, and there was nothing. Turn it back to her, and they're everywhere. So, and that house was moved in, like he had never even been in that house before. The house was moved in after he had already passed, so it was nothing like that. It was just something around her. And she said later on that she'd been like pulled out of her bed and stuff like that. And that's really all I got now.
Yeah, that's scary. So it sounds like you've had a history of strange experiences. What is your conclusion on what is taking place? Do you think it's all connected, or do you think that you just happen to be at the right place at the right time?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that with the places that I go, like you're never gonna see a Bigfoot unless you look. And you're not gonna see them staring at your phone or your shoes walking around. Like you gotta be in the places. Same way with UFOs. Like if you don't ever look up, you ain't ever gonna see one. And I'm not the type of person that would be like, well, I've never seen it, so it don't exist. I think it's a little bit of both, where in the right place at the right time. But I think there's something about like my family that kind of draws this stuff. Like I watched a thing about the RH negative blood type and alien abductees. Well, every female in my wife's family has RH negative blood. So I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. I mean, I'm not afraid of it, but except for that ghost stuff, I don't really care for that too much. But I'm not really afraid of like the alien or UFOs or Bigfoot or anything like that. I just, I'd like to see one day, but I mean, then again, other people, like you hear about people in Alaska, like you do not want to see one of these things. Like, you talk to one of them and they think you're crazy for wanting to see one. So I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you ever encounter a Sasquatch on your property, feel free to reach out to me. I would certainly like to hear about it. Or if you run into anyone who's had a Class A encounter where they've seen the creature, tell them to reach out to me. I'd like to have them on the show sometime.
Oh, yeah, man. You'd be the first one I'll let know.
Well, I appreciate that, and I certainly appreciate your time, Joe. So thank you for getting in contact with me and sharing your experiences openly here on Sasquatch Theory.
Yep, thank you, man.
Yep, thank you, and you have an excellent day, sir.
Yep.
Take care.
Joe's encounters remind us that the mysteries of the forest run deeper than we can imagine. From Bigfoot to UFOs, from glowing eyes in the night to silent crafts in the sky, something is out there and it's watching. If you've had an encounter, a theory, or a chilling experience of your own, leave a comment down below. We want to hear your story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sasquatch Theory, where boots hit the ground and the search for the truth never stops. And of course, if you have a chilling Bigfoot encounter that you would like to share, please contact me sometime. I also accept dogman encounters and other strange cryptids, and I would really like to hear what you guys have seen out there in the forest. Until the next time, keep your eyes on the tree line and your camera rolling.